Yeah, we're live.
Hola, Madre Distas. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. If you guys are new here, don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 3K. Also, people tuning in, Happy New Year again. We kind of faced Valencia a few days ago. It was a good way to start, and this is yet another step, towards probably the grind towards kind of equaling what we achieved last year. I was just telling Farouk, even if we kind of get to what 80% of 2024 was, this would be a very, very successful year, all things considered, especially the start we had and whatnot. A lot of sides all throughout history, and Farouk knows it very well, always suffer some sort of a mental fatigue, especially after a very successful season. We kind of have demonstrated that we don't for a particular phase, not so long ago, 6 7 years ago. I hope this is something that is brewing towards something unprecedented, like that phase was under Zidane. But yeah, man, welcome Farouk, bro. Copa del Rey, fourth division side. um like they're what, eighth in their league, so not exactly prime opposition for all our B team, C team guys to strut their feathers. But tell me, what was your thinking like going into this game, and especially after you watched it unfold? Does it fill you with any takeaways at all?
No, I mean, as you said, like it's a position that it's not
Mm,
even a proper position. I think even maybe it's even more difficult to train against each other than playing this Minera team. With all due respect to them, it's the third division team. But the thing about it was okay. You went into the game. You watched the game, and it was just at least from my timeline, it was a way to spend a chill evening. Like no extra stress or no extra pressure or anything. And the
mm,
boys got the job done, and a lot of players, were able to build some morale. So a lot of players on the fringes were able to, build some morale. So yeah, I think it was, it was more than I expected, honestly, because I thought maybe it could be a scrappy game going in, but
yeah.
it was much more better than I expected. Smooth sailing, and it was very close to perfection, honestly.
Mm, yeah. We didn't barely really had to break a sweat, right, to get things underway. Um, they said they had a 1% chance against us, but as soon as the game kicked off, it was next to nil. We were pretty keen on kicking things off. But before we kind of delve into stuff, big up our sponsors, Manscaped. Go check them out. LBR 20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. The pioneers of below the waist grooming for men. They have a huge catalog of products ranging from beard trimmers, nose trimmers, boxes, lingerie, you name it. Manscaped probably has it. Also, go show some love to Fanatics, official partners of La Liga and Real Madrid. Use our affiliated link so that they know you guys came through us. Also, if you guys didn't know, now you know this podcast, and of course, the Fan TV and everything LBR is officially sponsored by the Talksport Fan Network, powered by the fans. Obviously, the biggest sports radio station in the world. Go show their social some love. But yeah, this stadium, it has a bit of history attached to it. Quite a bit of nice facts. Over commentary, I couldn't resist myself from jotting them down. Apparently, Anelka made his debut in this very stadium, Cartagonova Stadium, in Cartagena. Um, it it had some pretty good atmosphere, to be honest, both from the away fans and our fans as well. Luca got a good reception when he scored the goal and whatnot. So, all things considered, like you said, it was a good night out. But let's start at the very beginning. From the get go, we were creating chances left, right, and center. Endrick should have scored. I remember in the opening, couple of minutes, I think, and then Fede, man, when you saw the lineup, very surprised that he's starting yet another game. 27th start of the season. Um, as usual, a banger. It doesn't have to be exactly outside the box for him to kind of use his insane short power to full effect. But talk to me, man, Fede Valverde.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, like seeing his name on the lineup was a bit of a surprise and not a surprise at the same time. Crowd also,
Mm.
if even if Freddie was to die, like literally Stone is gonna is gonna make the 11th man of that team. Whatever the case may be. So that's the thing. But again, Freddie showed like that leadership that
That's a pretty fucking dark comment to make, Faru. You shouldn't have gone that far, but I get it in it's in good spirits. Mina Bodino,
yeah,
if she is
man.
listening in, she's gonna come after you. But yeah.
I mean, this is just the reality of teams, man. Like this is how crucial and important Freddie is to this team. Honestly, of course,
Yeah.
like I would have expected him, to get that break, but this is
Mhm.
you just can't change too much as well. Like we've seen this, I think when we played Alcoyano a couple of years back, like we've seen that you just
Yeah.
can't change too much too drastically. So I think that's the
Mhm.
reason why Freddie was there, and like he showed again that maturity and that elderly presence that he has right now, in the team, that, he's like a future captain. He's the next captain of this team. So, like, he showed that today again. And as you mentioned, a well taken goal, it was a goal on the volley as usual. So, with Fede Valverde, it's either spectacular or nothing. There's no in between that.
100%. 100%. I mean, he basically, started his usual stuff, usual routine, basically setting up plays, being a live wire, sometimes even pressing the goalkeeper. He was the furthest forward in many phases of the game. Just didn't really sit back on his laurels given the opposition and given the comparatively low stakes, low jeopardy that this game posed. But yeah, like Carlo, like I know, you just mentioned that he shouldn't probably change it too much because an upset, especially in the Copa, isn't far away, and we know that very well, right? Like we have just won the competition twice in the last decade, so it is something that has eluded us. I mean, we scoff at it, right? We just don't really consider it as something valuable, during the season, but we wouldn't really brush it aside if we won it alongside one of the big two. But the Fede decision and then Mbappe and Vinny coming in the second half, Farouk, it just like I was like, this is too much. What if someone picked up a knock? Right, we have a game um, on Thursday, and if we win that, we have a game on Sunday. And since we won today, we have another Copa del Rey game, the round of 16
16, yeah.
next midweek. So it's a never-ending cycle. So I don't know why Carlo went that far, and Mbappe completely looked out of his depth. When he came on, it was funny. Um, but yeah, moving on. Kamavinga, decent. I've seen some comments, especially on social media. Okay, like I want to kind of pick your brain, Faru. Because you have a keen eye, like especially in terms of kind of judging what's maybe kind of going on behind the scenes. But people were kind of pointing out that Kamavinga apparently has lost his smile, quote unquote, right? Probably, I would think the reason would be Danny Ceballos kind of serving him a bit, and him kind of losing, a fixed starting role for the time being and whatnot. Would you think that that's the case at all
No,
with
I,
regards
I
to Kamavinga?
definitely, I definitely disagree with that, because I think the thing with
Mm,
Kamavinga is that, like, let's not forget, like, he was injured for a couple of months and he literally just came
mm-hmm,
back.
mm-hmm,
Like, he's literally just come back into the team, and also we had the mid-season break, and he's
yeah,
just coming back and finding his groove once again. So I do think yeah, like, I think there is, in my opinion, like, there is nothing to worry about. And also we saw he scored the goal, and he was all smiles and he was all laughter as well. And I do think like, I would disagree with that comment, and I do think Kamavinga has a spot in this team yet till now, and
mm-hmm,
the losing of the spot was only about the unavailability that he had. It's not about he was available and he was being dropped. No, it was because he was unavailable, he could not play, and then we found the solutions, and of course, Dani Ceballos
but the
stepped
Danny
in.
Ceballos equation kind of poses a threat though, especially his Danny Ceballos' current form. Like, although he might not look as flashy as Kamavinga when he's on song, he's been pretty effective.
I definitely agree with that. Dani Ceballos has
Mm-hmm,
been tremendous. Like,
mm-hmm,
he has been superb. Like, he has been, just the thing about Dani Ceballos is, like, he's showing that this is the player that he can be, but it's always about that consistency. But let's not forget, like, Edu Camavinga also is the player who came on into this team, when Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro were there, and like he still found a way to be an impactful player in this team as well. So it's not like he's gonna shy away from this battle. It's a good battle to have, all the best players in the world that have always, found a way to battle through this. So I do not think, like this is something that's gonna make, if Camavinga wasn't sad when he was, not playing with Kroos, Modric, and and Casemiro, now he's not going to be sad because Dani Ceballos is playing, especially when he's coming back off of the foot of this injury. I do think Dani Ceballos has put himself in the equation, which I think at the beginning of the season wasn't the case. But also I do think the position still remains Camavinga's to lose in the first 11.
Okay. I see what you're pointing at. When it comes to probably the biggest games, Camavinga might step back in. Who knows, right? But,
exactly.
Yeah. As of now, Ceballos kind of has first dibs. But yeah, like some of his passing was kind of out of sync. Like I saw Carlo losing his mind when he apparently tried to play a long ball and it went out of touch. But then he immediately made amends. He should have scored the first attempt. Like I've always thought that Camavinga, like both Tchouaméni has a better shot compared to Camavinga, but these guys, apart from Fede, especially our box to box or our number 8s, they should have a better long shot. I've always been an advocate for that because that would add another layer of dynamism to our midfield, right? Like what have you thought about Camavinga's shot over the years? Like I've personally been thinking that it has been very underwhelming because his shots, although they might be with some venom, it's kind of very comfortable for keepers, especially it's at a good height. It's not aimed particularly well to corners and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would say like it's not something. It's not like one of the weapons that we've seen in Camavinga's arsenal. I mean, for instance, no matter how you might say about Tchouaméni, at least we know there is something there. We've seen instances where it's been quite venomous from Tchouaméni and quite on spot as well. But I think for Camavinga, it's not something that I would say like we've seen quite a lot from him. Like that. I mean, for instance, I remember the other time I think we were talking either with Jacob or Sile, and I told him like for me the issue I have with Tchouaméni is that he has not grown since he first came to the team. He stagnated, which I think, it was Jacob. Which Jacob commented like he just didn't stagnate. Actually, he went backwards in his development. But one thing you can say for Camavinga is that like, okay, he hasn't developed that shooting skills or like that finishing ability, like the natural goals. But overall, his game has definitely developed. He has become a more refined and a more polished player. Especially when you look at when he first came into the team, he was a walking yellow card. Now he's more refined. Now he's able to wiggle his way out of very tight spaces. Now he's getting those finer passes, polished passes as well. So you can see that. But I think for the goal scoring, the hitting the target and all that, I do think that's one aspect that still has a question mark on it. And it's a position that he needs to work on. But then also it also begs the question, maybe he's not being placed in the position to actually take those shots.
Do that more often. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But some people would say that's not his role. But like, would it be really a bad thing if he could, launch one from distance, right? It would definitely kind of put centre backs and goalkeepers on alert, and definitely add some spice to our attack. But still decent enough header, Farouk. Was it Fran Garcia who kind of crossed the ball in? And
Yep.
It was right.
Yeah, it was Fran. It was a good cross from Fran. That just needed a finishing, as they say, like the final kiss, just on the ball, and Edu Camavinga of all people gave that. That was quite a strange sight. Even the commentators actually were also highlighting the fact that like Camavinga maybe has never scored a headed goal for Real Madrid. Also, I can't remember if he had never scored a headed goal for Real Madrid before. I don't think that's happened. So that was a very, very unexpected goal. You might expect him to pop in from a goal somewhere, but just not a headed goal. But also, it's just testament to how good the cross from Fran Garcia was as well.
Fran Garcia, outside shout for the man of the match, maybe 2 assists.
I mean, it's an outside shout just because the keeper made 16 shots. In my opinion, the keeper was the MVP. But Fran was.
100%.
Fran was the best Real Madrid player on the pitch. There is absolutely no doubt about that, in my opinion.
Fran Garcia, yeah, for you.
Yep. For me, he was absolutely the best player on the pitch for Real Madrid.
Can we confirm now, as of Jan 2025, that he has completely stepped up ever since he came back from his Rayo stint, and like he has kind of refined himself a bit more, and now looks like a player that can properly challenge Mendy for the spot.
I still think like France still has that defensive lapses, not still has like continues to have that defensive lapses, which is not one of his better strengths. But I do think like overall, Fran has really, really developed this season. Like, you have to give hats off. And as you said, now we're in Jan 25, Fran has become that player that, you get the vibes that, okay, if Fran plays, you don't feel, uncomfortable. You feel like, okay, yeah, we're going to he's going to lose those 1v1s, but you know that he's going to be also a threat for your position as well. Like now, his combinations are starting to make sense. His crosses are starting to make sense as well. Because if you remember in the past, he just always will come to the byline without even lifting his head, just always shooting to the crossing box, although there is literally no one there. Like I remember last season, we had a couple of games where this was the case. He just comes to the byline, just crosses the box without even looking, and literally there's 0 white shirts in the box.
It was almost like he was pre-programmed, right?
Exactly. It was just something that was happening just off of his offhand, off of his memory. Just like, okay, I go there, I cross, and that's just it. But now he takes a look. So he takes a look up. He tries to connect with the players, and definitely like Fran Garcia has. I think he has a shout to being one of the most improved players from this Real Madrid squad this season.
Yeah. And I don't think Mendy is, playing with his utmost confidence. He does it to an extent the way Fran does it, but I do think Fran inverts well at times. Probably people overlook that a bit because he has a good sense of positioning compared to when he first started with us. So yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy with Fran, and I hope he continues to build on this 100%. And I would agree, he was one of our standouts. But yeah, so Kama 2-0, and then if you remember, Lunin had a mini scare with Omar kind of going for the long ranger. Lunin would have been like, this hasn't been exactly according to plan, but if that went in, it would have been a definite blemish on Lunin's night. Just imagine the scenes, right? He gets a rare start and then boom, out of nowhere.
That would have been crazy, and that would have been typical Real Madrid. As always, you remember, even all our high scoring games, we always concede one world class goal. That's just how
100%.
It was, So, but anyways, like it was a scare, and luckily, fortunately, we were able to withstand that,
That was the one notable instance that he was called into action. The others were like meek shots straight at him, without any power. He didn't have much to do, really. But his counterpart on the other side, Fran Martinez, like you said, 16, 17 saves? He was part of our academy, apparently. Now that I read, from 2016 to 18. So, pretty decent performance. Despite conceding, 5 goals, he could be a shout for the man of the match, right? Like you said.
Yeah. Actually, I was just reading, Opta was saying that, 16 shots is the most that, most save against any top flight team in Spain, actually. Since 2014, 2015.
That's a good start. It's a good start, right?
Just put it 16 is crazy. That's insane. You can't help it. Some shots. Honestly, I feel like some of the finishings from.
Do you remember Luka taking the absolute piss? Trying to backheel and Brahim.
Exactly, backheel to Brahim, and that. Exactly. So those were absolute shitty shots. Yeah, boy. Still
But remember they say from Endrick, he had a collar.
Endrick. I feel like Endrick today, was just.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about it.
Unfortunately, he was the only one negative. And I feel like, what you highlighted at the beginning of the show when you talked about, he had a chance in the very first minutes. I think that was the big problem. I think once he missed that chance, I think all the confidence just left him. That was the issue. And after that, he just couldn't. I don't know, will I say he was trying too much, something like that, but he couldn't influence the game anymore. But that's the thing, you could see also Arda Güler also had the chance in the first minutes, because the first, it was an interchange between Arda to, to Hendrik, and then Hendrik missed a chance, and then the second one was Hendrik to
Hendrik to
Arda.
Arda.
Arda missed the chance, but you could still see Arda was still trying to find a way to impact the game, was still trying to find a way to do something in the game. But unfortunately for Hendrik, I just feel like that literally just killed his confidence, that missed chance, and everything just went wayward after then.
We have to understand Arda had a whole year last year. I mean, the injury kind of maybe takes that timeline out of the question, but still he had a lot more time to kind of align himself to the floodlights that are on constantly at Madrid. And Rick, I do think that the way he started his career was pretty pretty smooth, all things considered, how young he is, and since he hasn't really played in a top 5 league in Europe, and now especially once Carlo kind of dropped him from the main team, for that pretty ludicrous decision to kind of not pass to Mbappe and go for the shot against Atleti. He might be still, finding his confidence again, right, Farouk? And
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't just put that decision to not play him down to just what happened against Atleti. I think it's just a combination of a lot of things. So this is the thing, and also you highlighted a key point here. It's just not just about the fact that Arda had a year to adapt, but Arda actually had played in Europe and has played even though it was Europa League, but he has played in European competition before. You understand? So he while he was playing, it's not like a diss on the Brazilian league. Of course, it's a serious league as well, but the dynamics of that is different from the dynamics you face in Europe. So this is the point there. So I think Arda already while he was growing to 17, 18 years old, he was playing in Europe and in the Europa League. Or for Hendrik, so of course it needs a bit of time, but also on the other hand, you have to look at this this is Real Madrid, you understand? It's not like we come there and sit down and we wait and wait and wait. Vinicius was an anomaly, and Vinicius had the chance because Hazard didn't work out. It's not like we bought Vinicius and we're like, okay, he will work. No, we bought him because Hazard wasn't working. Bale was injured after Cristiano left, so this what happened, and then all of a sudden Benzema erupted as well. So because of that, Vini had that chance to develop. Because when you go back and look how many players had that chance, at least when I started watching Real Madrid, no one had that chance. Maybe you might say, the person that you might come closest might be Marcelo.
I used to love Callejon, Farouk. He was so good.
Exactly.
But did he ever get a chance to really prove himself? No.
Exactly. So that's the thing. You look at that. No, even Jesse Rodriguez. Okay, he had the ACL and all that.
Jesse had a much better chance, but comparatively.
Exactly, the ACL ruined everything for him. But I mean, I'm just trying to pinpoint here that this is Real Madrid. This is not what we do. You understand? Yeah. So the point now becomes, if against Deportivo Minero, with these chances he's getting these opportunities, they will not come around anymore. The point is now, most likely he doesn't play the next 2 games, most likely, because now we play the semi-final against Mallorca, we play the final against. If we win the game against Mallorca, we play the final. Most likely he doesn't feature in those 2 games. Maybe unless if there's a really good game against Mallorca and the score, it's already 2-0, and then he comes up in the 85th or something minutes. So he doesn't have enough time to impact the game. You understand? Yeah. And then you go to the final, and I don't even think he plays in that. And then you come back again, it's another Copa game, And now you get to the round of 16, and now you start to play serious teams, So these are the times that you kind of make the claim that I can.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So as we saw today with Brahim Diaz, as we saw today with Luka Modric, as we saw today with Arda, these players are yes, we are here. You understand? But if anything, at least Arda.
Can I make a counterpoint to that? Brahim is a seasoned player. He's not a veteran, but he's very seasoned. And come on, Brahim, we shouldn't even consider in the same equation, right? Modric, the drill. But Arda Güler and Hendrik. Arda Güler plays a position that isn't as demanding, or probably not under the spotlight as much as Hendrik, who is decided or judged by his output, and he is dying to impress, and he is someone that has had barely half the minutes that Güler has had. So he's going to look out of depth a bit, and he's going to look like he wants to impress a lot more, because he has been on the fringes a lot more than Güler has been, and like this is something that I'm gonna like. Last year, I remember, Luka Modric was, not probably to the extent that Endrick was treated, but if you remember, Farouk, apart from that goal against Sevilla, leading up to that match against Sevilla where he scored the winner of the Bernabeu banger, he had many games where he didn't barely even touch the pitch, or even if he did, it was for like what 5 minutes or 10 minutes max, and he was kind of overlooked, and people were thinking, this is his end. This was his end, and I remember very fondly that I messaged Francesco. I was like, Coach, like no matter what we think Luka Modric's overall season is looking like, he's gonna come clutch in the Champions League. We have to give him minutes so that he is building up to some sort of a match
fitness and momentum, right?
Match sharpness, right? Like
yeah.
Like that's my request. That would be my request again for Endrick, because like there is a player there. There'll be games in the Champions League, in La Liga, where Mbappe and Vinicius will face walls. They'll face nights where things aren't exactly going on for them. And Carlo, 100%, like as much as I love him, he'll throw Endrick under the bus, throwing him on like as the last resort. Go on now, win me the game. I didn't start you for 2 months, or I didn't give you, any significant minutes for the last 2 months, but here you go. You have to win me the game now. Like, I don't want him to be put under that kind of pressure without, some preparation. That's what I would request the coaching staff to kind of, they wouldn't be happy, right, Farouk? This performance, Endrick, like there was so many moments where he was a lot more selfish.
Just also present another argument is this: like when this team plays, let's say we play with the front three of Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Kylian Mbappe. We know that the 12th man off the bench is Brahim Diaz, as you rightly pointed out.
Yeah.
Maybe the 13th man that come off the bench is Arda Güler, as you rightly pointed out. So then you bring on a Luka Modric as well. Okay. So the question now becomes like, when do you give that chance to Endrick? As you said, like the point is this, like when I mentioned Brahim Diaz, Luka Modric, and Arda Güler, I'm not mentioning them in the sense of like, like, okay, like they're on the same, timeline or the same. I mean, I'm just trying to put out like these are players that are on the fringes, not in the first, 11. And they showed that, okay, when the time comes, we can be the person to deliver. But what's happening now with Endrick is that he's been given that chance and he's been unable to deliver against 4th division team, So while I get what you're saying about like you need him to build the match fitness, you need him to build, the match sharpness and what is not. But the point now becomes that even when the team is down and searching for something, Endrick is still at the bottom of the food chain. He hasn't pushed his way to the top. Once upon a time, Brahim Diaz was at the bottom of the food chain. But Brahim, of course, like as you said, he has that experience that he had in England with Man City, the experience he had in Italy with Milan, and then he brought that, put his head down, worked. And I mean, I was someone who, when Brahim came back, I was like, bro, this is a luxury player. Like even Milan's fan, question, okay, like he's a creative player, but like he's a luxury player. But now you see Brahim and he's on the pitch and he's running like a headless chicken for the whole 90 minutes, bro. You understand? So like he's put in that shit and he's brought that.
Yeah.
But again, the thing is, in my opinion, the thing I see with Endrick right now is that the confidence is at an all-time low.
Because and he's being very selfish as well. Like
this is the thing as well. Like he has to grow, of course. But even when Arda was there last year, bro, don't forget, like Arda even was scoring in the first round of the Copa del Rey, and then he got injured, and then he came back, and then towards the end of the season, he got those chances, and he kept scoring literally every single match till the season ended.
Yeah.
You understand? So like we need to see those movements from Endrick as well. And honestly, today, like even when you don't score, you can still influence. Before Arda scored, Arda was still there. You understand? Of course, like you're saying, like
he had a couple of good layoffs. Like if you remember, he laid it off for Modric or Brahim. Was it? They took a shot, but it was saved. But yeah, compared to his peers, it wasn't really eye-catching, right? I mean, I get
exactly. So this is the thing, like I get what you're saying, that okay, like and that's the thing, like whenever we have like a group of players, you always want someone different, which was what happened last year as well. Joselu, Brahim Diaz, they were different from the the catalog of what Vini and Rodrigo offered, which is similar to what Kylian Mbappe offers as well. So when you look at like Endrick also like is different from that guy. So you'll be like, okay, if plan A is not working, Endrick can be a plan B. I totally get you and I agree with that. But what I'm just saying is that right now at this point, Endrick is not just that. It's not there yet.
Fair enough.
I do feel like,
I mean,
the argument just goes back to what you started with. Like it would be harsh to judge Hendrik right now. Give him the time. Let him settle. Come the summer, preseason, all that. Then next season, I think we can see a more impactful Hendrik.
100%. But I do think, Farooq, in the Champions League, there will be a game where he will come on and make a difference. 110%. I just believe it. I'm gonna just manifest it into happening. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. There is so much potential in this kid. Although I do think that he wouldn't really succeed as a lone striker, in Spain or in any of the top 5 leagues. He doesn't have the height or the physique to really, be a lone striker. But as some sort of a pseudo, shadow striker or an inside forward, he's going to be very effective, especially with his.
I mean, he can be, man. I mean, come on, like Sergio couldn't get it in the Premier League, man. Like he can.
Aguero, I mean, is an anomaly, don't you think, Farooq? Especially with his feet, Aguero was a magician. The way he could
that's
dribble.
the thing. Like, so like players can develop as well. Hendrik is still very young, so I would say like let's not just throw that out there. But I do see like I feel like Hendrik can be sort of like a dynamo who just bulldozes his way through defenders and something like that. But again,
and you've seen that.
And based on what you're saying, I just think like to see that we need to see some improvement. And of course, like the coaches are the ones who see him in training. So like if they still feel like, because like you can see like, I mean, these coaches have a certain level of trust towards certain players, and you can see this is just a thing with Paulo. There is no hiding. You literally can see that, okay, this is the players he trusts, and he just trusts these 13, 14 players. And right now, Hendrik is not in there. When was the last time Hendrik actually came and played meaningful minutes in the game?
Yeah,
as you said,
been a while.
Exactly, it's been a while. So like he's just shown us that okay, he's just not part of it. But also one thing we've seen with this coaching staff as well is that you can come back into the fold.
Yeah,
if you show that
very quickly as well. Very quickly.
Exactly. Daniel Ceballos was out once upon a time, and he's back. Fran Garcia was out. Like I mean, everybody played as a fullback other than Fran Garcia, and now all of a sudden, even Mendy is fit. Fran is benching Mendy. You understand? So like this is the thing also about this coaching staff. You have to give them credit for that. They have favorites, but if you show you can, you come into the group of favorites.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like right now,
apart from the front line, though, so there are some undroppables in there. When they're performing, it's okay. But during the first half of the season, I was crying out for
nobody's gonna drop Kylian Mbappe, bro. That's just.
I know. Yeah, I know. But I'm just wishful, maybe. But yeah, like. For all of Hendrik's kind of no show in terms of his magic for tonight, it still reigns supreme. We created 10 big chances in the first half. Hendrik made 3 of them, alongside Gola, who made 3 big chances as well. So he had some sort of an impact. But we expect a lot from him. The reason why we kind of had a 5-minute, 6-minute conversation about this kid is because he warrants attention. He warrants hype, right? Like he's a player with tremendous potential. But yeah, moving on, the third goal, Goaler, 2 goals.
Of the third goals, man, like Tammy Abraham just put you guys ahead, bro.
I don't care about the Supercoppa Italia, to be honest. The Milan side that I kind of liked during the COVID. Was it during the COVID they won the title and whatnot? It's far off. They're far off, man. I don't watch them to be honest. I haven't watched them in a long time. It's pretty pathetic. Their whole state of affairs. They again did a sidestep with their coaching decision as well to go for Conceição, which I don't think would really fetch them anywhere. But yeah, to pressing matters. Third goal, Farooq Goaler. He scored 2 goals. The first goal, you could call it a bit lucky, but he constantly was trying. His body language, like we compared in the beginning, compared to Hendrik. He just didn't shy away from the confrontation. He was always up for the challenge, combining well, dropping deep, collecting the ball, dropping players on the dime. He just looked like he wanted to prove himself again.
Definitely, man. That's just it, like, and it shows that because if you remember, like, I don't know if you remember or not, but like I always said, it's like one thing I always have with Turkish players is that like they feel very comfortable so quickly, which means that like they just be like, okay, yeah, we're at the top club. What's gonna happen? It's gonna happen, eventually. So like they don't
Yeah.
put the effort anymore. And this is something we've seen with a lot of big Turkish players whenever they make the move. Of course, like Arda Turan is an exception. He played at the very top level at at the very highest quality. But generally, when you look at Turkish players who make this move, like especially the young ones, and
Yeah.
Emre Mor comes to mind. I don't know if you remember there was Emre Mor, at Borussia Dortmund when together he joined with Christian Pulisic. Christian Pulisic eventually made £70 million move to England, and Emre Mor now where does he place Uli knows, So we've seen that as well. But see, this is the thing. Like you always have that issue with them. But Arda's like surpassed everything, and he's just went back to what everyone has always said that okay, this kid is made of something different. He's someone who is going
100%.
to put his head down and go to work. And that's what he has shown again and again and again. This time around, like he's shown that he, no matter what's coming, he's gonna be there. He's gonna try all he can, to influence the game one way or another. And as you mentioned, like I would say he manufactured his luck, in the first goal. Like, yeah, of course, like, it was a lucky deflection, but he manufactured his luck.
Yeah.
Like, he forced it, more or less. And for the second goal, he was just there at the right, at the right place at the right time, to just finish off the move from Frank Garcia again, So I think he was an overall great performance from Art, honestly. I think, okay, yeah, he could be better, but I do think it was overall a really good game from Arda Güler, and also would just increase the shots, of us Real Madrid fans to for Carlo to find a way to include him more in the team.
Mm-hmm. And even the second goal, his positioning, that's a striker's finish. I mean, we don't see that often from Gola, but that was a very instinctive finish as well. So yeah, he's looking like the player that we thought we were buying. More and more with each passing day, and I do believe, like Endrick, he's going to have a huge say come the Champions League, especially in games where we need a savior. He's going to step up one of those days. One of those callers are going in big time against the big team. When when the floodlights are on. But yeah, good night out, goaler. Luka Modric, Farooq, 39, 40. Apparently he didn't score in the Copa del Rey, all throughout his Madrid career. The commentator actually pointed that out. I was surprised. He's not exactly known for scoring goals, but he has been here 11 years now. Him not scoring in the Copa del Rey was a surprise, and there were a couple of instances where like we discussed earlier, when he was kind of faced with the goal, he was more keen on laying it back to Brahim with a cheeky back heel instead of going for the shot. But that goal, though, he had just probably a couple of inches to kind of gauge his trajectory and curve it around the defender. We have seen that countless times, Farooq. Luka Modric, his shots, they're aesthetically pretty sexy to watch.
Definitely, man. Honestly, like with Luka, there is just nothing to say, man. And that's the good thing, like you see Luka going to the stadiums, week in, week out,
Yeah.
And now, people chanting his names, although he's in a position stands, and we could see when he scored, like it was like the home team has scored because like there was a huge celebration all around the stadium, And yeah, of course, like the lack of scoring in the Copa as well was, although insignificant, but like a milestone as well, So it was great, and that's that's the thing, like for Luka, like that's the thing, like these games are just he's just enjoying his trade, and nothing exemplifies that more than what you just mentioned. He was 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and just okay, Brian, do whatever it is that you want to do. Like it's not something that really bothered him. And then of course he came into the box, had a couple of moments to decide where he want to place his shot, and it's Luka Modric, man. When you give him that much chance, he's always going to find a way to to curl it around into the bottom corner, man. Like it was a great goal, great shot, and yeah, man, it was just a deserving end to a great performance tonight. Honestly, Luka Modric was also really almost sublime tonight as well. It was almost vintage Modric as well. It was great to watch.
100%, 100%. Like I've never asked this question, but Farooq, Luka and Tony, who would you pick in their prime?
Luka Modric, man.
Luka Modric, yeah. Same for me.
I mean, it's really, I feel like it's a question that's kind of disrespectful, but I just feel like, it's like when they ask you to choose between which of your siblings is your best siblings, it's like kind of okay, like whatever you do, there's no winning, you're always going to lose eventually, whatever you say. So it's just
Hmm.
one of those, actually, like Tony Kroos was a phenomenal player, honestly. But I just feel like, at least, I don't know, from my perspective, I feel like, you get more of those, highlights from Luka Modric than you get from Tony Kroos. Although, of course, Tony Kroos does his stuff, but, he goes around it in a more silent way. But I just feel like, when you look at the moments, that we've had with Luka Modric, you go back to the
Yeah.
shot against Manchester United, you go back to the corner for Sergio Ramos, you go back to some of the goals. I think there was a goal against Sevilla last season. There was, 2 seasons back, the outside of the box to Rodrigo. You look at this moment and like you feel like, wow, like Luka has just done it all. You find a lot of those highlights, and so of course for Toni Kroos, like we find a more silent highlights. And we forget about the goal that Vinicius scored at the Camp Nou, albeit with the deflection. Literally Modric traffic team into that position, and I think that was a goal that changed everything for Vinicius, honestly. And then, of course, the
Yeah.
goal he scored last year at the Allianz as well, the pass from Toni Kroos. So Toni Kroos has been phenomenal, but yeah, if I have to choose, honestly, I would choose Luka Modric every day.
It's barely between the 10 years, it's barely, a year or so, Luka Modric has, been at the club. But then, like for me, Luka's legacy, like you said in the beginning, there are far more big moments compared to Toni Kroos. But yeah, effectiveness, maybe you could say they're pretty equal in their own right. Um, but yeah, 4-0 Luka, 5-0 Guller. I think that's pretty much it. But before we get to a few of the comments, quickly, Marca or Masa, or however you want to say it, they were kind of hyping up the Lista del Davide, Davide's list of Fabrica players that they are keeping a keen eye on. I see Francesco whenever they, I think, have a chance to go around to watch Castilla games. I always see them in attendance, and spending some meaty time kind of analyzing who would fit best. But very surprised by the all Castilla back four, Farouk, and although they didn't have much to do, did anyone stand out, or do you think this wasn't a game to kind of gauge anything at all?
Actually, I think the right back actually was quite good. I think it was Lorenzo. I think if I'm not mistaken.
Lorenzo Aguero, yeah.
Yeah, I think like were they siblings, the two of them, like the other center back?
No,
Because
no,
I
no.
think
They're unrelated. Unrelated. Diego is
ah,
17. Lorenzo is 22.
because they have the same last name. So I was thinking maybe like they were like
Yeah.
related or some shit like that. But I feel like Lorenzo was actually quite good, and I feel like he also linked up well with the attackers very well. And of course, like
Hmm.
okay, defensively they weren't tested, but I feel like I was actually surprised that they took him off. But I feel like he was really good. I enjoyed his play, and also like for the centre backs, Laura Sensi, of course, we already know what he is, and the other Aguado also was quite okay. So I was a bit surprised because with Carlo, you never can tell, but I think
Yeah.
he also just, was like, okay, yeah, let's just give them all a run and, see how it goes. But yeah, like,
Hmm.
they were barely tested and they just, they did their job and moved ahead with it. But honestly, like, it was good at least, to see that the coaching staff as well, is willing to, use these players as a resource, especially during the stretch. In this month we're gonna play a lot of games, and it's great to
Hmm.
see that you ease the tension on players like especially Tony Rudiger as well. So that was a that
Yeah.
was a that was a great one, and the boys actually held their own.
Like I said, Lorenzo for me was decent. Had a couple of good runs. I thought Diego was pretty good. He's just what 17, left-footed. He would be a valuable asset if we kind of nurture him the right way. He has been one of the standouts for our Belows, Joan as well. So um, in the future, these guys are gonna hopefully get some very tangible minutes. Even the midfielder who came on, Chema, he is very
Yeah.
highly rated, 6'3". His stature alone, I think, would add a lot of dynamism to our midfield. He's been compared to Xabi Alonso and the like. So there should be some valuable reason. We don't watch them week in week out, but the people who scout them extensively say that these guys are one for the future. Raul Asensio, as usual, had a standout game. I think we have kept like out of 4 clean sheets in his 6 games that he has partaken in, and he just looked at home. Very very easy night for him comparatively, but I do think again, like Hendrik and Arda, Raul Asensio is going to have a significant say if we are to kind of do what we did last year. But yeah, any other stuff to break down? Mbappe and Vinicius came on, didn't really have an impact, did they? Was on the fringes.
That was just flexing of muscles from Carlo. I think maybe also like to just
for the fans, for the crowd,
exactly,
for the crowd.
Exactly, yeah. It was just a crowd pleasing moment, yeah. And for me, I had more issue with like why was Lucas Vasquez coming on. Like, I mean, there was literally no point of breaking on Lucas Vasquez.
Yeah,
because I mean, the point is like he's the only right back we have, and also like we know that he also can get injured as well. I mean,
yeah.
So there was no point, and especially when there is literally no threat defensively. So I just feel like it was best to keep him. But I don't know, maybe they know something that we do not. Maybe before the end of the month we have a certain English right back. Who knows?
Do we need to get into it? I wanted to ask you that question, Farouk. I saw him live, bro. Atrocious. My goodness, Farouk. I mean, no matter how good Fede can be, bro, like, I don't know if you saw the Valencia game. I'm pretty sure you must have, right? Do you remember Vasquez's tackle at the 91st minute, right before we scored the goal? The vital interception for the cutback. Who was it for? I can't remember. Was it for? I think it was Sergio Canos who cut it back to whoever. I don't remember. But Lucas Vasquez put in a last-ditch slide tackle. If he mistimes that by an inch, it's over. Game is over, bro. So you see that cojones. Like, I don't know, Trent, bro. Farouk.
I mean, the point is, I don't know, man. Like, it's actually, for me, it's shocking, all what's happening after the game yesterday. The point is, if anyone's watched Trent Alexander-Arnold in the past years, he know that what happened yesterday, it's not an anomaly. It's normal with Trent.
Yeah.
So, like, there is nothing shocking. For me, what's shocking was that he lost the ball around 30 times. He misplaced around 30 passes. Like, this is what was an anomaly, you understand?
I mean,
but defensively,
the first goal was him misplacing a pass, right?
Exactly. The first goal was 100% on him. Even the second goal was, I mean, everything was on him more or less, because everything came through his side, So for me, like, defensively, like, there was nothing there. I mean, this is Trent. Like, I mean, then what are you expecting? This is what to expect. Of course, like, he would require a lot of backup and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. The point is still, like, he's better than 90% of what is there on the market. So
yeah, on the market, yeah, you can agree. But like, I would say something controversial. Like, people would think I'm mad, or maybe you might say I'm mad as well. But bro, for all of Trent's attacking prowess and his crossing is one of the best in the world and whatnot, Lucas Vasquez isn't really far off being a winger and being 33, 34, 32, I think, playing out of position. His delivery is probably the best in our side when he's on it. So I don't know, bro. The payoff, I hope, is worth it. When we choose Trent.
No, man, I totally absolutely disagree with that, man. Like, when Trent
obviously
he's absolutely filthy. But even on his day, like, Trent is always going to be a defensive liability. This is just what we know. So the point is, either you accept him as this or not. So, like, the game yesterday for me didn't change anything. It was an atrocious game from Trent, of course, yeah. But this is, I mean, bro,
even Konate, I think, had a bad game. To be honest,
we've seen wingers that have no names literally like turn Trent into a schoolboy. So it's not like it's something extraordinary. Like I feel like it was a really good performance from the midfield, especially from Bruno Fernandes. Man, honestly, like, I have forgotten the last time I saw Bruno play this good, because like Bruno is always like someone who is very inconsistent. This is why I always like I've not always like regarded him highly, but like you cannot get a 90 minutes performance from Bruno. But yesterday he delivered. Yesterday he delivered 100%. I think maybe one of the reasons why he delivered also was because of the target of Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. But like, it was crazy. But man, like, what Trent offers us, all the potential that's there on the offense is absolutely filthy, man. Honestly,
he's a good free kick taker. I'll give him that.
Bro, forget about the free kick, forget about the crosses. Have you seen the passes this guy makes? Man, they're always keeping Mbappe offside. Let them come and let them see how to play Mbappe offside.
I don't know. I don't know. Even if fucking, I don't know, man. Who was it? Even if Zidane was in his prime, can keep Mbappe onside, it'll be difficult. We'll find out soon enough. We'll find out soon enough because Mbappe, like, I don't know. Maybe he's just too quick, man. I think he's just too quick. I don't know.
I don't know. He's so quick, but man, the pass that Alexander hits is. But actually, bro, let me tell you truthfully, I actually do not feel like Trent is going to come to Real Madrid.
Yeah, so what? They're basically leveraging for a contract, yeah?
Bro, they're leveraging for fuck you money, bro. You know, because like there is like money here, and then like there's fuck you money here. You know.
Okay. They want him in the 350 range.
Exactly. They want him to earn what Kevin De Bruyne is earning at Man City, more or less.
Doesn't Kevin earn De Bruyne earn like 400k or something?
No. Kevin De Bruyne has 3 something. I think 320, 300, something like this. Yeah. Because like Mo Salah wants 400 actually. So like Mo wants to be like the godfather, you know. So I think they're cooking for something. Because I think like Trent actually is not even earning up to 200k at City at Liverpool right now.
The whole Salah thing, him coming out and saying, "Oh, this is my last year." Like I in my time watching football, right? Like I haven't seen anyone come out and say something as blunt as that. Like I don't know what kind of move is that. You know,
if you're delivering, man, you can say jack shit, and literally you're also going to be Jesus walking on water, man.
Oh yeah.
Like Mo is saying this on Saturday. I think was it on Saturday or on Friday? And then on Sunday,
then he scores the pen.
No, there is a new banner on Sunday that says "Give Mo and Co." He didn't say Mo, Trent, and Van Dijk. No, he said like Mo and Co. The Dome. You know, like he's like Mo and the rest of them. Like this is just the thing. Like, I mean, when he's doing what he's doing, he can see jack shit and get away with it. But actually, if he wasn't, because as we saw, like Trent yesterday, like he didn't perform, and everyone was like, yeah, because he wants to go to Madrid. This is the point, right? You know. But if he's performing week in week out like Mo is doing. Man, he might be like, yeah, bro, whatever they say, I'm going. Everyone will still be like, right, you know.
I would be very, very annoyed to see him win the Ballon d'Or. The only way we stop that from happening is us winning the Champions League and Vinny, you know, continuing to do what he does. This guy is putting up unreal numbers. I don't think Vinny can match that. I don't think Mbappe can match that this season, although Mbappe, you know, in the coming seasons would be a prime candidate to do just that. But yeah, him winning the Ballon d'Or, I wouldn't.
I don't see them winning the UCL, man. I don't see Liverpool winning the UCL because the point is like, I feel like this team has picked too early, and like the only way down is just the only way next is down. I don't think they can sustain this. Like they can sustain this to win the league because if they win the game against Everton, they go 9 points clear. But I don't think after that, I don't think they can sustain this to also win the UCL because they've picked already more or less in my opinion.
One thing, thankfully, I don't know if it's the media, I don't know if it's the football culture, they can get carried away very easily, right? Compared to us. So, that might get to their ego. And that's how most of the English sides, they falter, right? They just celebrate. The premature celebration is very much part of their football culture, which I'm very thankful for, because if they didn't do that, we would be on the receiving end of some bad seasons, right? Like we thankfully capitalize being 100% focused.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, man. Like we've defeated the best that England has to offer several times. When Liverpool were in their pomp, we literally trashed them. When City were in their pomp, we trashed them as well. So whatever they do, either they get carried away or not. I mean, as long as we do our business, we're just gonna trash them. That's it. There is no problem about that.
100%. Some of the comments quickly. Big up Ashik, he was mentioning. We survived a CDR match. Superman has kryptonite and we have Copa del Rey. 100%.
Indeed. Very true.
Fabrica boys were out having fun. Always great to see. Sensio is a no-nonsense centre-back and should be a starter, has leadership qualities. Like, I've been very impressed by him. I'm not going to lie. Very impressed. He also mentions Arda is a fucking artist. Modric is just sublime, and congratulations to Modric on his first ever Copa del Rey goal. That was a fact that surprised me. Ashik also mentioned we are on our way to a treble now. I just hope we don't.
He jinxed it, man. He has jinxed it, bro.
We speak about the treble all throughout the early parts of a new year, right? And then boom, It would be next week. We are out of the Copa del Rey. Who knows, right? It's just funny. But yeah, big up Keenan. He was mentioning Hala Madrid from Abu Dhabi representing Cape Town, South Africa. Pick up yourself, Keenan. We have people among us who live in Cape Town. I think Sahil lives in Cape Town. I'm not sure, 100% sure, but yeah, he lives in South Africa. But yeah, big up Ashik. He was mentioning Sunay just praised Ceballos. I must be in the twilight zone. I mean, he deserves some praise this year, right? 33-year-old Van Dijk has been offered to Madrid on a free transfer or some shit. But then I read that we rejected the the approach. I don't know why they cook up all this, right? Like it's.
No, I think that's not true, and I don't think that's true.
But we wouldn't take him, even if that was true. That's the reality. He's 33.
Exactly. I think the age profile doesn't fit, man. Especially also like the salaries are going to be very high. So like even when we got like the Alabas and the Rudigers, they were in 33, bro. Like 33 is literally like you don't know what's going to happen next. When someone is 33, they get one injury. How do they come back? You just don't know. So yeah, no matter how good
he did have a major injury, right? Sometime.
Yeah, he had one
recently.
He had one.
Rajat backs that up. He says, "Don't really want Van Dijk." Sahil was mentioning Endrick needs some sort of consistency in terms of minutes from the bench. Polishing is the decision-making skills will be key, though. Anything longer than 50 minutes and the cracks start to appear. So he's basically insinuating that the longer Endrick is on the pitch, he just, he just gives out a worse impression. I just hope, people just lay off on him and he gets to build. The hype is, of that regard. I mean, it comes with the territory, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Asha was mentioning, don't you guys feel great being able to talk about registered players regardless of their form or performance? Mentions Ashik. I think the almost situation hasn't yet been resolved, right? It's funny.
Yeah, it's great how Ashik just lays things there without saying anything, and everyone knows what is happening.
Just name dropping without dropping it, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Mohammed Sahil,
do you think eventually like they get able to register this players though?
They would. They were kind of trying to.
Like because based on what I know, they said like they're taking it to the government now. Like both the Spanish Federation and the Spanish La Liga also said like now we ain't doing shit. So like Barcelona has taken the situation to the Spanish government based on what I read last. I don't know. Do you think like they're gonna find a way?
Right. I do think they like you said, they'll kind of find a loophole and do something, but I just don't want the day to be about Barcelona not having their players available, them being poor and throwing a pity party if we are to win the league. They won't do that if Atleti wins the league, but if we do win the league, they're going to be harping about the Olmo impact, him being the second coming of Messi and whatnot. And I saw a meme, Farooq. I don't know if you saw that. Because do you remember his celebration pointing to his imaginary watch, him tapping on his wrist, almost like it was like it's about time or it's your time now.
It's all more time.
So people are saying that was basically, him reminding Barcelona to register him for Jan. It's funny, man. It's funny. It's funny, right? How karma kind of completely swallows up Barcelona every time they are kind of being a bit cocky. It's funny, man. It's funny. I've been seeing a lot of Barca content creators. The way they move, they just kind of their bread is basically kind of making fun of us, and kind of like I don't see any Madrid content creators really doing that. It's their obsession is crazy, man. It's crazy.
I mean, that just puts into perspective, what Florentino Perez has done for Real Madrid. Like, you might like him or dislike him or whatever it's done, but like, one thing you never can doubt his true honest love for Real Madrid. And, he might be a political person or whatever, like, but he has always put the team first and, found a way to, move the team in the right direction continuously. So that's just a thing, man. Like, we just have to appreciate not just what's on the pitch, but also, how the football club is being run as well. It's a phenomenal work that he's been able to do, especially when we consider what's happening in the Premier League, and then also the sponsorship of nations with Paris and Man City and those guys. So it's been phenomenal what he's been able to do, honestly.
Did you hear about the centre back we're kind of scouting? I forgot his name.
The one from Bournemouth, Heising or something like that, or is there a different one?
No. Not that guy. I read about it today actually. I'm trying to kind of find the tweet. He's apparently 23 or 21. Anyway, I haven't watched anything about him actually, but yeah, apparently there is some links, but they say the price is a bit too much. But I don't think in Jan we are gonna really do anything. It's not really how we operate, no matter what happens. Sahil was mentioning Tony never had a prime. He was the epitome of consistency. But yes, even though you had picked Luka for a one-off game, Tony Cruz is far more difficult to replace in any team he's playing for. He is a one of one. Yeah, one of a kind. I could say the same about Luka too, I think. Although Tony has, his unique set of skills, I think Luka has it as well. Like I don't think so many of the greats in their prime. Like I don't know if you agree with me, Farooq. Yeah, like I haven't had the opportunity to watch the Pirlos in their prime, but watching some clips back, I don't know, that would give, like I'm pretty sure that wouldn't give the complete picture. But having had watched glimpses of him, especially when I was a young kid, playing for Italy in the 2006 World Cup and whatnot, they never used to have the athleticism or the pressing or the tenacity of Luka on song. I don't know if you agree with that, but I do think that kind of adds a different layer to what Luka brings to the pitch.
I definitely agree with you. I feel like, Luka Modric is a combination of those, like the new midfielders we have who are like, very, very like, how should I say, physical, and then like the old midfielders we have who are very technical. I think like Luka Modric is a hybrid combination of that. Like he's a unicorn more or less. He's a one kind. Honestly, I do understand what Sahil is trying to point out there, but I also agree with you as well. That the fact that Luka Modric is definitely a unicorn, and it's like impossible to replace. Honestly, impossible.
100%. I think that pretty much is it, people. We're gonna delve into some sides for you. Apart from the main course was pretty straightforward. The ingredients were right. We had a good dinner. Hopefully, next week we'll get to know. I'm not sure if the next opponent is, kind of determined yet, but we would know that very quickly. But yeah, congratulations to all three debutants. Lorenzo and Diego, Aguado and Chema. I really expect good things from them in the future. Hopefully, we give them a fair chance, especially if they kind of continuing to keep up their performances. But yeah, big up every single one of you in the chat. Big up people who are going to be tuning in later on as well. Big up our sponsors, Manscaped. Go check them out. LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Go check out Fanatics using the link in the description. The partners of La Liga and Real Madrid, probably the biggest sports apparel collection online. If you guys didn't know, now you know. This podcast and all the fan cams and everything LBR is officially sponsored by the Talksport Fan Network, powered by the fans. Right, Farooq? Any last comments, last words, last thoughts?
No, man, it was a new year. We started with a great performance, albeit against very lower division, but of course, you can only play what's in front of you. So, we hope that, it's more of the same throughout the year. And hopefully, we look back upon this year, very fondly as we started the year.
100%. Big game. Mallorca won't be easy. And hopefully a Clásico. Clásico is more likely, who knows, Bilbao might have a different, a different opinion on, how the final is going to be poised, but it's going to be interesting. We hate it. The Super Copa España distraction isn't really welcome anymore, but what can you say, right? You got to play the calendar, and I hope we put up a show. for everyone in Saudi as well. Until next time, people. Hala Madrid.
Madrid.